And I would furthermore like to specifically acknowledge and also welcome the following people to today's event. Ms. Tholo Ntlololhelo. I'm getting there, right? Ms. T from the Central University of Technology. I know you've played a big role in terms of this competition, so welcome to you. I would also like to say welcome to Mr. Anthony Rasmus from South African Breweries Trade Brewer. Also, a warm word of welcome to Mr. Umbumbi Jazo Kachivena from South African Breweries, and from he's the Polokwane plant manager. Also, Mr. Luca Tuli from Zwakele Brewery, where he's the director and head brewer. You know, we love these people, the head brewers. Mr. Bongani Semenya, welcome to you, sir, from Heineken South Africa, in the corporate, who's a corporate affairs specialist. Ms. Apiwe, welcome to you from the Beer Association of South Africa. Ms. Apiwe is the Beer Relations Manager. We also want to say Ms. Quinta Aronsa, the General Manager from the Beer Association of South Africa, who I had the pleasure of saying hello to this morning. Welcome to you, ma'am. We also want to welcome the media houses present here today. This morning when I drove in, I saw Capricorn FM. Are you here? Where are you? Okay, welcome to you. Thank you for covering the event, and also to our internal media team at the university. I would also like to acknowledge the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Science and Agriculture, Prof. Siweya. Welcome, Prof. And also thank you to the faculty as a whole. I know you've played a crucial role in terms of this particular project at the university. The Director of the School of Molecular and Life Sciences, Prof. Mampuru. Welcome, Prof. I would also like to welcome the Executive Director for our Marketing and Communication Division. I see he hasn't arrived yet, but I'd like to say welcome to Mr. Victor Komoiswana. His team is here. And also from the head of the department, Prof. Matsebatlela. He's also a program director today. And I want to acknowledge another prof in the area, Prof. Mokonedi. If you can wave, everyone needs to know you at the university in terms of brewery. Our guest of honor, Mr. Louis Ramoba. We also want to, on behalf of the management of the university, welcome you to this event in honor of what you and your team have achieved. And to all our other invited guests who are here from both inside and outside the university. There's some staff members, some students here. So welcome to you all. I also want to say that we are very appreciative as the university management team for the actual prize of microbrewery equipment, because that's being very practical, especially to to the winners of such a competition as the mentor of the year. This prize goes a long way in terms of growing research and innovation in beer production, not only for the University of Limpopo, but for the country or the sector as a whole. So I'm sure Mr. Ramoba and his team will put the prize to good use in the future. So we have quite a program today, and I don't want to take up much of your time, except to say just relax and enjoy. It's a celebratory event, and just enjoy the event with all of us. And so on behalf of the university, a warm, warm word of welcome to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Prof. Wonderful words indeed. I think all of us are now feeling welcome. We are all at home. And without wasting any more time, I would then move to the next speaker who will tell us why we are here. What is the big deal about? But while Prof. Singh is here, I'm not a beer drinker myself, but I was at Zwagala. I don't know if any one of you knows Zwagala. Some of my colleagues, some of my friends, and family relatives, they like beer. And we were there, a wonderful place. And I looked at that place and I thought, at UL, we are going to have our own Zwagala. At UL, we are going to. You have the microbrewery. This is the miniature version of the bigger things to come. I hope that moment will arrive in our lifetime. Of course, with Mr. Ramova here and the team, why not? The competition has been hosted at CUT for quite some time, and 4 or 5 years, I think now. And what a better person to explain to us why are we here than Tlohelo Tsolo to come and brief us on the purpose of the day. Tsolo, Ms. Tsolo, you can come.
Good morning to the management of the university, esteemed guests, and everybody present here this morning. As you've previously been told, my name is Tlohelo Tsolo, and I am a faculty member of the Central University of Technology, but I am also affiliated with the Center of Applied Food Safety and Biotechnology. Now, I'm still a baby in the beer industry, unfortunately. It's only been 2 years since I've been part of the competition. So I've gotten to learn a lot throughout the 2 years that I've been part of this competition. It's been an eye-opener. Like Prof indicated, I'm also not the biggest beer drinker, but from time to time, I do make time and join the brewing team downstairs to make beer for the university. So for the purpose of today, what is this competition all about? So this event is mainly aimed at nurturing and embracing beer culture amongst university students, for the students and for the communities. Now, as we all know that in South Africa, our beer culture is that we need to drink to get drunk. Sorry for the language. But with the InterVarsity competition, what we aim at doing is to ensure that people appreciate the beer more than enjoying to drink it in order to be intoxicated. And then it also is about it's also there to challenge the local tertiary students to compete amongst each other by participating in the brewing and tasting competition. Because it's not just about making the beer, but it's also for what we are here today to do, to showcase talent, but also to encourage other students to be part of this community that we're trying to establish. Now, it also encourages interaction among students and craft brewers. Like previously indicated, we have people from Zwakala here, and we also have people from SAB, which are the main people that we know of half the time when we hear about beer. And furthermore, it is also there to expose students to the business opportunities that exist within the beer industry. This is to encourage students that it's not only about making beer for us academics to do research and publish papers, but it's also opportunities that exist within this beer competition, because it also serves as a ground whereby the likes of SAB and Zakwala teams would scout talent within the people that are already interested in this beer making industry. Okay, so what has been happening previously is currently we have 17 universities within South Africa that are participating within the InterVarsity Brew and Tasting Competition. We have 26 universities in South Africa, of which we are aiming to have all of them participating. But it's a work in progress, as we know that we need buy-in from the universities, management specifically, because as we know, if you go to management and you tell them about this beer competition, you want to brew beer on campus, the first thing that they think about is that you want to promote students going to classes drunk. But that is not the case. It's just to expose learners to an opportunity of research, but more than anything to promote the beer culture, because these students not only exist within universities, but they also need to go back into communities and to instill this discipline and the culture that they learn within these disciplines of the beer and making industry. Now, over the years, we have seen, including Mr. Louis here, that the people that are involved within this InterVarsity competition are the exact same people that started out as students and remained within the academia to make sure that this project, this culture does not die, because now they're no longer in industry, now they've left academia, and now they are somewhere established as brewers themselves. And last but not least, over in 2021 actually, because that's when the competition started picking up, we have received a lot of international interest in terms of this intervarsity brewing and tasting competition, whereby the event was held virtually, and we've been receiving a lot of requests from sponsors overseas to say, how can we assist you? How can we make this competition better? What role can you play within this specific competition? Just to give you a bit of a background in terms of how we started, we've been hosting this competition since 2018. And when we hosted this competition in 2018, it's sad to say that we had a minimal financial constraint whereby it almost did not survive. We almost did not have this competition, we almost did not have this moment. But because of perseverance and teamwork and efforts, we managed to pull through. Now, in 2019, the competition was hosted on the CUT campus for the first time in collaboration with the Center of Applied Food Safety and Biotechnology, as well as the CUT Hotel School and the SAB collaboration. That is when the momentum started picking up. But amidst that momentum picking up, we had a challenge of the COVID pandemic. Now, with the COVID pandemic, it was difficult because we were not allowed to move. And as you all know, that the competition takes place in Bloemfontein, whereby students from all walks of the country come to the university to come and experience this esteemed event. So in 2020, during the pandemic, we unfortunately had to host the event virtually because we were all in the comfort of our own homes. And with that in mind, it was difficult to manage because we have things such as load shedding in South Africa, and we have the internet. Our country is not at that fifth industrial revolution in terms of internet, so half the time you were disconnected, half the time it's buffering, and half the time we have some other network issues. Now, since 2021, the InterVarsity Brew Competition became a hybrid event hosted at CUT and virtually. And with that, there's been challenges as well, whereby you would have people online having their challenges and people physically on campus having their own challenges. But that did not deter us from continuing with the competition. In fact, it made us stronger. Now, in the year 2022, the Beer Association of South Africa became involved and enabled the organizing team to grow sponsorship for the competition, which included the SAB Heineken as well as Sibasa, which were now part of the people that sponsor and collaborate on with this event. Now, how this competition is structured is in the following manner. The students usually, well, because Limpopo is far, the students will probably arrive on Thursday. Then they sleep over, then the event officially opens on Friday morning. So on Friday morning when they arrive, they get to register, then they are given their tags, and last year we had the funding and the opportunity to design and get them soft shell jackets to go with the registration. And then during the same event, they have people that, not people, but brewers that present to them, and they also go to the local brewery just to get an experience of what is it that is happening within Free State, what new beers do they have, and what goes into tasting. Now, on day 2 of the competition, we have the beer judging that goes hand in hand with the invited presentation from guest speakers. Apiwa was one of the speakers last year, whereby they share their journey within this beer making industry. Now, during the beer judging competition, it's a blind tasting judging competition that takes place. So half the time, the judges don't know the beer that they're tasting, which university is affiliated with them. As it's blind, it's only known to me as part of the people that organize. So only I know which university's beer are you guys tasting, are the judges tasting now. So nobody else has that privileged information. So in that way, the competition is not biased, and there's nobody who will say, but I like University of Limpopo more, I like Stellenbosch more. So it's a blind tasting competition. It's not only just about the taste, it's also about how it looks like, the presentation, the smell as well. And then while the judges are busy doing the judging competition, in the auditorium, the students are listening to presenters, telling them about their journeys in terms of the beer making industry. Then on the same day, towards lunchtime, there is what we call FaceTime and tasting. This is whereby students, as you can see in the presentation, are busy designing their backdrop and they're busy setting up their stalls. This is whereby the judges themselves, because they are doing a blind tasting, now they get to walk around the stalls to taste the different beers. So some of them might remember from the judging time in the morning to say, okay, I enjoyed I-11, for instance, or I enjoyed B7. Then when they get to the stall, they will ask about the specific beer, whereby the students will get to present the beer, tell them what went into making it, what ingredients they were making, and they also give pointers to say, look, with this specific beer, had you done this, this is how it would taste. So it's not just about the tasting, and it's also about interacting as well. Then on the same day in the evening, we have what we call the award ceremony. Now, these are proud moments for students and for mentors as well, whereby you get to celebrate with your team, because all of us go there not knowing whether we're going to win or not. So as you can see in the presentation, right in the middle of the presentation, I've included Mr. Louis at the time when he was called to receive the award for this specific event that we're here about. So it's a unique prize, and it was the first time that it was being offered. So congratulations, Mr. Louis, on that one. And last but not least, we've got a dinner and a networking session. During the dinner, we get to sit randomly. Sometimes the students want to sit close to somebody who's well esteemed within the industry, and sometimes they choose to sit amongst themselves. There's no criteria in terms of how they sit, but we use the dinner as a marketing tool as well, whereby they can get to engage and market themselves in some or other way. And we serve a 3-course meal, whereby the starters, there's the meal, the main course, sorry, and there's dessert. So half the time dessert goes to waste, because then at that time, since morning 9 a.m. with the tasting and the drinking of the alcohol, for other people, it doesn't sit well. So that is what goes into it. Okay, so these are some of the proud moments that we experienced within the year 2020, whereby students interacted with each other, and you have people from industry going through the stalls, like I indicated, having moments, chatting to the students, finding out what their ideas are, and finding out where is it that they see themselves within this beer-making industry. And before I close off, I would just like to share this video with everyone so that they can see what goes into planning and this whole entire competition. I hope the sound. Oh, it's playing just for me. I'm sorry. I think you need to... I don't know what he was tasting. It might have been too strong or it might have been too bitter. But this is just to show you that we don't just get anybody to do the beer judging. They are judged by professionals to ensure that the best team of brewers in the making win the prizes. Now, in closing, I would just like to share with you a list of our sponsors for the 2022 InterVarsity competition, which is the SAB, SAB, Food Bevsita, Food Focus, Zetec, BAS, the BASA, PDTS, Sibasa, Heineken, Lalaman Brewing, Anton Parr, and Cactus Craft. Now, for the 2023 InterVarsity competition, we started with the preparations, though the date is not out yet, simply because around the same time in the Free State, we have an event called Makufe. So what we try and do is to make sure that Makufe does not clash with the InterVarsity because accommodation becomes a problem. So as soon as the dates are out, we will be sharing with the universities, and we would love to see the team again this year. And we hope that they'll be bringing better prizes, more of them actually, as opposed to just one. I thank you.
Wonderful job indeed. I think everybody now has a clear idea of what the purpose of today's is. Thank you very much. That was a good explanation with demonstrations of what the achievements of today are all about. While we move the podium back to where it was, I'll, Prof. Mohamed, do you have a video to play as well? But you will need to project. Oh, okay. I'll move the podium back then. Then we will welcome Prof. Mohamed. Prof. Mohamed is going to come and tell us where do we come from. And after that, we'll play the interview. Don't worry. I'm just avoiding video after another video. Prof. Mohamed will come and tell us where do we come from. You may give a round of applause for Prof. Mohamed. Dr. Mert, can you help me move the podium back?
I don't think, yes. I'm tall enough. Okay. Good morning. And special greetings to our guests from SAB and Zwakala. And also my bosses. I still want to get my bonus. So thank you, Prof. Matsabatlela. You know, when Mr. Lo was talking here and she said they want to instill a culture, a good culture of drinking beer, it took me back a few years when we started brewing. And I remember in one of our end-of-year functions, Prof. Aboji and Louis, made a special brew for us in the department. And we were at the ground floor, having our meat and beer. That was the only drink then. There were no soft drinks. So for some of us who don't drink beer, I was just taking in the moments and the comments from the colleagues. And I was seated with Prof. Van Rensbeck. He has just left. He was just seated there. Prof. Van Rensbeck and the late Prof. Mube. And they were enjoying the beer. And, I like the way they described it. They were looking in their glasses and they said, this has got full body. And I wondered, what is a full body? Is it like me, like this? they couldn't quite describe it. They said, it's got good, a full body, and look at and I said, is it the foam that we're seeing? I said, and Prof. Ngube said, you see the foam that is, the foaming at the top, it shows that this is good quality beer. And believe me, they went on, and towards the end, I was just enjoying the moment, and even the way when you said the culture of drinking, not to get intoxicated. Maybe it's good that Prof. Rosberg is not here. So I like the way now the facial expressions, the way they were talking, the twisting of the lips started changing as we were talking, as the day progresses. But they were not drunk. Obviously, we were still at work. So I have to say that my bosses are here, and they are their bosses. So I really enjoy that, and we have come a long way since then with the microbrewery in the department. So I've been given, there is Prof. Van Rensburg. He's just coming in. So I've just been given 15 minutes. I'm hoping that I will finish in 15 minutes. You know, when you give a teacher time, you need to just times 2 in your head. Because sometimes, especially that we have not been seeing students since COVID, so we tend to talk a lot. So for some of us, so I have this so that I get focused. Because if I start talking from the head, I'll be going up and down and teaching about what we've been doing. So I will just, my task is really simple, except that I was still a baby in the department when we received the microbrewery and when all this started. So I really had to go deep into the archives of the department to get the whole story where things started. So I understood that the microbrewery really came about as a social investment of SAB to the academic community of South Africa. So the relationship between the SAB and the University of Limpopo started with a meeting on the 28th of September 2006. And the meeting was between the staff members from our department, BMBT, which is Biochemistry, Microbiology, and Biotechnology. And the UL delegates were led by the then Dean of our faculty, Prof. Naftali Molel. And there were also staff members from the SAB, and the team leader was Ms. Dikeledi Mabuya. So the main point of discussion was the intent of SAB to construct and install a microbrewery plant in the university. And the purpose of this joint project in microbrewing was to train students in the art of beer brewing and the design of a microbrewing plant. So the work of the task team culminated into the signing of an MOU by the heads of the 2 institutions, the UL and the SAB, and the project was given the name UL SAB Microbrewery. So the microbrewery was officially installed and handed over on the 13th of March 2007 in the department by Mr. Rapiri, who was the manufacturing and technical director of SAB. So there were clear objectives agreed upon in the MOU. Chief amongst those was to inspire and pique interest of the students in bringing technology, which encompassed process control and monitoring, sterility and quality control, biochemistry of brewing, fermentation, microbiology, and waste management, just to mention a few. However, based on the area of practice in our department, the focus is mainly on fermentation microbiology. So the microbrewery has been fully integrated into our academic offering. So we do have a module in Introduction to Biotechnology at our 2nd year level, which is offered by Dr. Malin there and Dr. Lekhanyane there. And this introduces concepts and principles of brewing and fermentation in general. And then we have another module at 3rd year level, which is Industrial Biotechnology, and another at honors level, which is Advanced Biotechnology module. So in these 2 modules, the students are taken through the practical training of beer making and wine fermentation, and Mr. Louis is the one who actually takes them through that. So our students that are enrolled in those modules. So the microbrewery was equally managed by SAB and the UL staff, and these included Mr. Danny Odendal, who later handed over to Ms. Lebora Moloto Modise, and both were the brewmasters at SAB. And then we had Prof. Aboji, who since retired in he actually formed the first team in the negotiations or in the discussions about bringing the microbrewery over. So Prof. Aboji and Dr. Danila Khranye, and also Mr. Louis from the university side. So of all this, obviously now the microbrewery is now managed by the department and Mr. Louis specifically. So it's clear who the last man standing there is. So the highlights and notable achievements since we received the microbrewery, there has been hands-on training in the production of beer, which was organized for our biotechnology students. When we received the microbrewery, initially when we received the microbrewery, so that was then in 2007 and 2008. So the first brew, after we received the microbrewery, after it was installed in 2007, the first brew was actually produced in the very same year. So they just couldn't wait. And in 2008, the team produced 3 brews, a lager, an ale, and a dark beer. Don't ask me what that is. And they said that these were of acceptable standard. I guess they were modest. So the team participated in the 2009 InterVarsity Beer Brewing Competition and won a 3rd prize in the ale beer brewing category. So with this, it involved 5 interns. I think that is why Louis is here for mentorship. So he always takes the students along. So there were 5 interns that were involved then that he took along. So in 2010, the student brewers won the Best Lager Beer Prize at the InterVarsity Beer Brewing Competition. So shying away from taking the shine from Louis, because he still has to talk, I will just state a few in brief that the brewing team won prizes in various categories of beer style since 2009. It also included 2010, 2014, 2015, and 2016, obviously under the leadership, the capable leadership of Mr. Louis. So fast forward to 2021 and 2022, the microbrewery was successfully used to produce Marula fruit wine under the leadership of yours truly and Mr. Ramova. So this project has graduated numerous honors, masters, and doctoral students, and others are still enrolled in the project. So the microbrewery is really a great social investment project for the advancement of science and technology, and it inspires innovation, which is very key to grow our economy. So it can potentially respond to the aspirations of our AU Agenda 2063 and the UNSDG in promoting innovation-based economy. So starting here in the communities, because the skills are already here, so some just need refinement and others just need exposure. So this can only happen if we fully exploit its potential. So I will end off with well wishes from our former colleagues and the mentors that actually guided Louis, from Prof. Aboji, all the way from Ghana. He's retired, he's in Ghana, and he sends his regards from Ghana. And also I have a message from Dr. Danny, all the way from New Zealand. He enjoyed taking time to reminisce about his first years of taking over the project, and that was in 2013 when, after Prof. Aboji had retired in 2012. So he says that his first year in charge of the microbrewery was a bit of a disaster. When they were preparing for the InterVarsity competition. He said they produced an Indian pale ale that was very bitter due to the error when calculating the amount of hops needed, and there was not enough time to produce a new batch. So the judges of the InterVarsity competition obviously did not like it. You saw what they do when they don't like what we have just given to them. So, but
That is already there, it's already submitted. I'm not saying anything about anything, I'm just saying that it will cost a few, close to $1 million or so, but it's worth the spend. We hope that budget proposal will be approved. I'm just saying. We will now invite the word from the faculty management, and I think the Executive Dean has invited our director, Prof. Mampuru, to come and speak on behalf of the faculty. Prof. Mampuru.
Thank you, Program Director, Professor Tabe Matsivatlela, the DVC Research, Innovation and Partnerships, Professor Singh, who's here on behalf of the Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor N.M. Mkhalo, the Executive Dean of the Faculty, Professor Tlangani Siweya, who I'm standing here on behalf of the Faculty Executive Committee or the management of the Faculty of Science and Agriculture. Our guests, head honkos from the brewing industry, and you know, it's often a privilege when you have the CEOs and the managers from a business sector under one roof, and we should be very proud as the university management to have them here. You are heartily acknowledged, and your presence is really felt by the university management and appreciated. The HOD of the department, Professor Tabe Matsivatlela, the academics and researchers in the Department of Biochemistry, Microbiology, and Biotechnology, students. On behalf of the university management, or the faculty management rather, we are very much excited to have everyone here, and for the department to have raised or hoisted our flag, or the flag of the faculty, very high. I'm just a bit worried that I don't see the faculty logos here. Professor, we should be having the faculty banners and school banners around here to showcase our section of the university. From the background that was given by the Professor Moganedi, indeed, that initial conception from the SAB bringing in a microbrewery here is bearing its fruits. That social investment, strategic imperative that they came up with is actually bearing more fruits than we've expected. And as the management, you're seeing the entire spectrum of what makes a university in this particular project. If you look at the teaching and learning aspect, you find it in this particular initiative. If you look at the research aspect, you're actually seeing it in this initiative. And if you look at the social, the community engagement aspect of the three-tier model of an institution, you see them all in one. And we are going to escalate it further, and I'm challenging, and which of course is still, it is already coming, the innovation part. And we need to strengthen that particular aspect. Professor Matsibatlevel, Professor Mranedi, you're already in that space. And we need to have 4-tier model now in this faculty. We are teaching students, we are doing research, master's and PhD students, and research publications are coming out of that. And the social aspect of it is also bearing fruits. So we very much excited as the university management or as the faculty management that the initial concept that started actually is now bearing fruits. And what I would want to see, or what we would want to see as the faculty management, is to have or create our own strains that would be unique, our own unique culture strains that would not be found anywhere in the world. And it would be unique for the University of Limpopo, Department of Biochemistry, Microbiology and Biochemistry, in the School of Molecular and Life Sciences, in the Faculty of Science and Agriculture. And that should come to fruition. And I'm giving you a challenge, Professor, and the staff in the Department of Microbiology, Biochemistry, Microbiology and Biotechnology, that in 5 years we should be having our own unique culture strains, be it from the fermentation of the marula that Professor Mahanid is working on. Also, we should see it coming into the beer sector to have that. And I think that is the challenge that as a faculty management, we're giving you, colleagues, to come with that innovation arm. We've already achieved these 3 tiers of what makes an institution: teaching and learning, research, and community engagement. So let's get into the innovation part of this. And I think the instrument that has been given to us is more like a springboard now that we can move into that space in an aggressive manner. Those are the words from the faculty management, and I'm very glad that we are having this, interaction here.